Hello, welcome to another one of our videos, and this is a follow-up to our previous one for older adults. And last time we looked at speed and power and strength. Today we're going to look at falls prevention, why stability training is an essential must for the seniors or the older adults as we refer to them. So how common are falls? Well, they're the leading cause of injuries and deaths amongst older adults, believe it or not. So there's heaps of newer stats, but these are some of the ones that I've had for a while. 30% of unintentional injury deaths in 1999 and were the most common cause of non-fatal injuries, hospital admissions for trauma. So 1.6 million treatments, 370,000 hospitalised. So, and approximately 50% of those who suffer a hip fracture never regain their mobility, and 50% of those die within the first year. So pretty scary statistics. For really, that's something that could be very easily avoided just by using some simple strategies of movement. That's really all it comes down to. So no medication, drugs, not even expensive programs. It's quite simple stuff, but it just has to be implemented correctly. So firstly, like hip fractures occur much more easily when there's a loss of bone density, and bone density reduces when we age, but not with everyone. And not at the same speed. So when we're around 25 years of age, it's relatively stable, but after we get to about 50, the progressive losses begin to occur, and as the bones lose their density, they become weaker, and the risk of the fractures from just simple daily tasks start to increase. So as you see, the picture here is a healthy bone and here's a brittle bone. So so when you get significant losses, and if you're a female, like you already have a loss of less muscle mass than a male to begin with, so the chances of speeding up and getting into this, postural changes, and you see dowagers, humps, and curvature of the spine, which then leads to chronic pain, which easily leads to fractures. All right, so all of this can be prevented by adding muscle mass as you age, and I can prove it to you again in this video, showing you someone who's 80 who moves without all of these problems. So the person so we have two people, 70 and 70, and a 70 person might have a little bit of degeneration, but not to this point. Might slip and fall and just be okay, but the person who's like this, who slips and falls, will be in a terrible position, and they'll could be one of those stats we spoke about on the previous slide. So why do people fall? Well, there's a lot of reasons for this, but medication sometimes, side effects of it, loss of coordination. So maybe you weren't that coordinated to begin with, and didn't play sports. Didn't really exercise a lot in your youth. Muscle loss, as we spoke about, is a big one. The environment that you live in. So if you start to sense your loss of balance, you might move away from using stairs and start to avoid things that may be seemed as risky, which then speeds up the process of losing it. Disease, health problems, all can be a factor, but really all of this summed up in 4 words: use it or lose it. So if you don't continue to use the skills that you have, you'll very quickly lose them, and speed up the degenerative process, and then next thing you know, walking downstairs is a life and death situation where it shouldn't be that way. All right, so what happens is the slowing of the neural conduction speed is the thing that really matters, because this is what the body's reflex movement is going to be potentially slower if you've lost this conduction speed from not being able to using it anymore. So the slower response time makes all the difference between an injury or life-threatening incidents, such as stepping on this. Someone with good reflexes and stability will recover from that, may even fall over, but might end up with just a few bruises and a bit of a shock, where the person who has zero reflex ability will go head first and crack their head open or land on a hip, and a much more severe injury that should not have happened. All right, being on a bus or something like that when it takes off quick is another common thing that we see. All right, so what can you do about it? So obviously using exercises to enhance the ability to stabilize and balance. So That doesn't necessarily mean standing on a balance board or a Bosu. A lot of the time it's single leg stuff that's the key. So you can see pictures here of walking through like an obstacle course, really, forwards, different things to stand on, spiky mats, a weight plate even, normal mat, step, and see all different contours and textures, so different heights, having to react and respond and adapt on a reflex level. He's like a weighted step ups. This would be adding muscle mass. This would be adding reflexes. Still reflexes involved here, but with a weight vest and dumbbells. So you're sort of adding the bone density and also the reflexes at the same time. So really a good program, really for improving stability and balance, should have 5 elements. So center of gravity control. This is the ability to weight shift. So when you walk, you should be able to see, as you can see here, this lady having great ability to stabilize on single leg, so that this leg can swing through and clear the height of the step. Multi-sensory control means proprioception, really just the ability to know where you are, have a feeling of where things are around you, and be able to control. This all happens on a reflex level. If you want to experience this, close your eyes. That's one of the best ways we enhance this ability of proprioception. Postural correction, so the ability to maintain a good posture while you're moving. So it's a dynamic sort of position. So so you really need to. A good example of motorbike riders, or really anyone who plays sports, surfers, stuff like that, understanding how their posture affects their balance and knowing how to maintain it. Walking enhancement, so walking speed, stride length, they're 2 big things that we see. Once these sort of things diminish, that's when stability becomes a real problem. So if you use exercises to enhance the speed and the stride length, you're going a long way to maintaining your stability for forever, really. And strength, endurance, and mobility. So if you have things that encounter all of these things, then you're well on the way. So let's have a look at 3 exercises, and this is with using a guy, Laurie, one of our clients who's 79, and this is sort of putting together all of those elements there with 3 exercises. There's a lot more we can use, but just to give you an idea of where to start. Okay, here's a video I have of Laurie Ford, who's 79 years old, and we're going to show you how he executes what we call the toe touch drill, which is a great drill for improving stability in 360 degrees. So very much about the stance leg, this exercise. So we're trying to see if he can maintain a natural alignment through that stance leg, and at the same time be able to have the flexibility to reach further out, so that he can, so we're looking for a mobility of the hips and stability of the hips on the stance leg, and control of the trunk as well. So he's having to sort of reach, as he goes further out, you watch how his hips break, his knees try to bend, as we ask him to try and reach as far back off the mat as he can. The distance off the mat here is 1 metre in diameter. So and we're looking for every single colour for him to sort of reach, and it's just a little tap of the floor. The backward ones are the easier ones, where we have a little bit more stability and control. The front ones are a lot more awkward, which would replicate walking downstairs. So these backward ones, which he's reaching to now, are where we really see the full stability and the strength of his glutes and butt muscles, if you're not sure what glutes are. And seeing how he can control himself now as he starts to move into the more complex side, where he comes around himself, and this is what's known as a bowler squat, and you'll see a lot more activation of the glutes, and the stability requirement is much greater. Alright, so a lot of people with injury in the lower limbs really struggle with this particular movement now, to be able to control that stance leg in that alignment, and he does a great job of this even at 79 years of age. So understand that he wasn't like this when we first met him, and you can see him still challenged through his stability now as he goes to reach around to the further sides. I'll speed this up a bit so you'll see him really trying to come around now, and now you can see where he has to have that control of the trunk, really rely on his skill in the stance leg to be able to control it. And now he comes around to the front to get the front ones, and these are the awkward ones. See how he's lowering his center of gravity to improve his stability so that he doesn't lose it. Oh, he nearly does, and there he goes. Alright, but this is a great exercise that we use, and you can use it as a measuring tool as well to gauge your progress. So
Very simple but highly effective, very good for injury as much as older adults. Alright, so in a second I'll show you a couple others that will follow on after this. Okay, so now that we've got the single leg toe touch drill, we move into an exercise that is a very unique one, and this is a hip stability drill. And we're progressing this quite hard for Laurie already by putting his hands on his head. This exercise works on the reflex stability of the trunk to try and maintain an upright posture so that he can go into walking positions and move that leg in front of him. Alright, so by having his hands behind his head really reduces his ability to use his arms as cantilevers, and he has to rely entirely on his trunks and not let his hips stiffen him up. This is such an excellent exercise for when someone goes into the falling position, or like a slip, when you slip on something across the street, like a wet spot, and there's a sudden reaction that you have to provide to be able to force that leg out in front. So you can see as he does this now, there's like a quick timing to it, and he's got to really challenge the stability on the stance leg. He has to have a weight shift. So he has to have a weight shift on this side, and this leg has to swing through really quickly to be able to plant that foot down, to be able to provide everything in this beautiful position, or else he's going to go over. Alright, so and you see he does quite a great job of this, and he even gets that leg right in front of him there. Right, so this is such an underestimated exercise. It's so powerful for the older adult who wants to prevent falls and really improve their reflex and strategy of getting that foot out in front very quickly to save them from the fall. Right, so this is really no strength requirement, entirely stability and coordination to a degree, but there needs to be a fast reflex skill. If they don't have the reflex skill, if you can't do it here, you won't do it standing up, I can guarantee you that. Alright, so this is such a great exercise that every older adult should incorporate into their training, and we'll use this and follow it up with more complex exercises, which I'll show you shortly. Okay, so now we're moving ahead back to standing, and we've got here Laurie here again showing us like a simple walking drill where he's basically trying to walk across a line, and this really enhances the time that the leg has to, if I just take that back for you a second, this enhances the time where his leg has to swing through. So you'll see when he plants that foot down, there's a long time before he can put it down again. We often see people who use a shuffling, or their stability is limited, they really shorten their gait stance because they can't trust the leg to stabilize them effectively. Alright, so this is a great way to use a simple drill where you just put some tape on the floor. Then we've asked him to go back and walk along the line. Alright, so now this is like tightrope walking. It's a lot easier, but still very effective in enhancing the stability of his body. Now as he comes back to the other end, and if I split this up, now we're going to ask him to walk on the outside of the line. Alright, so now there's like a much greater distance of where he has to weight shift himself. So you watch, he'll have to get his leg on either side of the line there and really have good stability. Again, this looks quite simple, but for the person who has a real difficulty with their gait, this is actually quite hard. And the flexibility of the leg, as I leave it there, see how much he has to generate huge flexibility through the hip here and the other side, and then instantly go from mobile to stable. Alright, so as this moves just slightly more, see now he has to go from full flexibility to full stability to allow the other leg to move through. So again, such a simple drill, but so effective in really enhancing someone's gait, and it also introduces the sideways movements that many may lack in their later years if you haven't used exercises to preserve it. All right, so another one that'll follow up again with a little bit more difficult movement. So remember, Laurie here's 79 years of age and makes it look easy.
Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that videos, or those 3 videos with Laurie, and give you some great ideas on how you can go about improving your stability and your balance. So if you want more help, we've got stacks of information on our website. So just go to our website, www.noregretspt.com.au. You can grab some of these reports. This one's got like a stack of programs you can follow, and there's a specific chapter for older adults, as there is for balance and also core strength and stuff like that. We also, if you live in Melbourne, we have specific classes that run for older adults that we run on a Tuesday and a Thursday. There's also a free report from our website you can get just on older adults, and that'll give you a lot of information on things that I've just sort of really just scratched the surface of, but to make you become aware of the things you need to do. So I hope you've enjoyed that video, and if you need more help, just check out our website or get in touch with us and we'll see if we can help you out. All right, I'll see you on our next video.